that the Grand Slam really started because I wanted to create an organisation where we had a network of people that had experience in the outdoor community, in the mountaineering world, with suitable qualifications and first-hand experience on how to successfully organise and execute expeditions, but also to do it in a manner where they could create a nurturing environment for people that have had life-changing injuries or been born with disabilities to get involved and achieve things that they might perceive not possible at first.
AGS as a concept and as a foundation and everything it isn't for military guys, it's for anybody. And that kind of hit a note with me because I've always had in mind that, all right, lads get injured in service and it's difficult, but some people are born this way. You know, some people are born with serious disability and they know nothing different, and there isn't military charities and there isn't compensation and there isn't a medical pension. And in the short amount of years that I've lived with, whatever you're comfortable terming this as, a disability, an ailment, an injury, whatever, the one thing I always think of is like, we as injured military blokes, people out there have it far harder than we do, in my opinion, far harder. So the fact that it was going to be something I could get involved in where there would be injured people, disabled people, whatever you want to call them, from any background or anywhere, that was sort of what got me through the door, I think.
So some of the guys, not everybody that comes on these trips, some of them have, PTSD or mental health issues, or even just, I think they've lost themselves a little bit, perhaps, and they've gone back in their shell and they're very timid and quiet and maybe a little bit standoffish on the first day, and then, by the end, or even sooner than that, they're laughing and joking and they come out their shell and they're bonding with the guys and being social, and you see, their eyes are different, their face, it's like they come alive again, There's just something, I can't put my finger on it, but you just see them grow and brighten up and change over the days. And I'm not sure whether that's, I think it's probably a combination of the physical activity, but also being around like-minded people and having that support group, I think, helps a lot.
So, just hiked up to the glacier, and now doing more. This is the view.
Yes. So Tommy, if you've got a telephoto lens, you can get like
Amazing.
It is hard, it is challenging, it is hard to live with disability. Things are more expensive, there's a financial consequence to it. Often there's a consequence where you can no longer do the job that you did beforehand, and so you've got to be prepared to and have the resources to retrain and reskill in order to get a new job. And you've got to find a new purpose and hopefully satisfaction again. And a lot of that can be challenging when you're simultaneously learning to live with disability. The more time I spent in the outdoor world, especially in a challenging environment where there was a genuine challenge and we were taking on things that were not easy, you're enabling people to simultaneously learn to come to terms with all of that and develop new skills and a new network. And at the same time, they're growing in confidence and resilience, which helps.
I've seen people grow a lot on these trips, on these AGS trips. I've met people for the first time on the first day, and from that day to the last day of a trip, sometimes there's a massive difference, and then other times I've seen people, I've seen them on one trip and I've seen them on the next trip, and again there's a difference, and I think that's really interesting, at least from my perspective. That's something I've observed, and I think that's that must be a pretty good thing.
My involvement in AGS has given me a massive personal boost, without question. It's done a lot for me. And it hasn't changed me in any way. It's just allowed me to sort of recapture who I actually am, not who I was when I was, struggling a little bit in my immediate post-military years, and you lose a little bit of yourself, and all I've really done is recaptured that bloke, and that is, you know, pretty much 90% thanks to AGS. I really genuinely enjoy seeing people get themselves out of a hole, and that's what AGS is. You know, it's a vehicle for it. It can't do it for them, but it's a very, very decent vehicle for them to do so.
It's hard, but it's worth it.
You still there?
Like the views are just incredible.
You still going?
I'm still going.
And where are you going to keep on going to?
Pardon?
Where are you going to keep on going to?
Well, base camp this time. Somewhere else next time.
Good skills, mate.
I think what Martin's doing and the rest of the guys involved in AGS, I think they're they're changing lives a bit, and they're getting people to do pretty incredible stuff. And if people can see the things that these guys are doing, hopefully it'll brighten up their day, inspire them, show them things are possible, things that can be achieved. And yeah, I think it's just a really cool project.
It's slowly, organically growing. We're doing more. You know, the initial concept was to try and get a disabled team to climb the highest peak on every continent of the world and walk unsupported to the North and South Poles, which is an endeavour called the Explorers Grand Slam. So I call this the Adaptive Grand Slam, because we're going to have a disabled team do it, which required us to adapt in order to achieve it. So that's why it started. But now we're venturing into other areas. We're doing cycling trips now, gravel cycling trips, water sports for the first time. And in essence, the model is, if we can find clients and sponsors and able-bodied people that want to have a challenge and prepared to invest in it, if we can find, select, train and prepare members of the disabled community to take on a challenge, and we can fund it, then we'll do it.
Being involved with AGS has saved my life. It's given me a new focus. It's given me a new drive. I feel like part of a new community, almost like a new family in a way. It's really important that anybody who can invest into AGS does so, because it creates life-changing opportunities.
This is no ordinary team, this is no ordinary charity, and what they do is seriously life-changing, which I've been very fortunate to witness over the last 10 years.
These guys are amazing. I've spent a lot of time with them over the last year, and I'm blown away by everything I see and everything I do with them.
Our next big expedition is to go and climb Mount Denali, which is the highest mountain in North America. It's in Alaska.
It's going to be a challenging expedition, both physically and mentally.
We've got an amazing team that have put themselves forward to be considered for the expedition. We've already started the training and planning process.
It's going to be an epic, and it's going to push me way outside my comfort zone.
We now need a lot of support to get there. We've got to fundraise, we need sponsors, and we also need clients to come on our training events. We're trying to do everything we can to engage anybody that wants to get involved in our community, not just our beneficiaries, but our clients. If you want a fairly unique experience where you're going to be around like-minded people that want to push themselves and face challenge, but with support, then reach out, get involved.
Get to know the people behind the story.
And if you know anybody who's got a disability and you think that they might be up for getting involved with the challenge, it doesn't need to be a Denali, it doesn't need to be an Everest, it could just be meeting other people with disabilities and injuries that have perhaps got a bit more experience that they may have of living with a disability, then get them to reach out, and we're here to help.